Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. There's a false narrative being reported that Errol Spence Jr. wants to call out, Terence Crawford, and we just got to dig right into it. And when we break down, Errol Spence Jr.'s comments honestly and unbiasedly, this is what we come to. Now, let's first start off by Errol Spence Jr.'s comments. It's just going to be really interesting, basically, on what he was stating in regards to Terence Crawford. Here's this direct quote. It's just going to take everybody to cooperate. We got Sean Porter. He says he wants to fight. Then we got Keith Thurman, who has the belt. And then, the most difficult fight to be made is Terence Crawford fight. So, I don't know how that's going to get made. It's for Bob to talk to, my management, Al, and they come to an agreement. But, the Manny Pacquiao-Floyd fight was made. So I think it'll happen. So does that sound like he's 100% sold on Terence Crawford? First of all, he put two fights ahead of Terence Crawford. He put Sean Porter and Keith Thurman. Then he says, I think it'll happen. He's not giving you any glaring information that you don't already know. We already know that Al Heyman and the PBC don't like to work with other promoters. It's funny how people try to put it on Bob Arum, but the funny thing is Bob Arum actually works with other people. Bob Arum has shown a tendency to work with Al Heyman before. Bob Arum has shown a tendency to work with, Eddie Hearn. It's Al Heyman who can't work with Eddie Hearn, who can't work with Bob Arum, who can't work with De La Hoya. It's Al Heyman is the guy that's making it extremely difficult to make any of the current fights, such as the Wilder Joshua. These guys are holding up the table when it's trying to make these deals. And Errol Spence Jr. is being exposed because what he's doing is he keeps mentioning Terence Crawford's name all of a sudden, and that's going to backfire because his bluff is being called. Because as you know, Bob Arum has recently sent out a tweet and stated Errol Spence said he's ready to fight Terence Crawford. We are ready to do that next once Bud is successful against Amir Khan on April 20th. It's what the fans want. Al, should I call you or you call me at Premier Boxing Champions? So, Bob Arum has already put it on the table that we're ready to take the fight next. Errol Spence Jr. will not take this fight next, mark my words. He's already put, Sean Porter and Keith Thurman ahead of it. And I know if he gets past Sean Porter, he's not going to fight Keith Thurman right away. He's going to take a tune-up or an intermediate fight, then fight Keith Thurman sometime way next year. It's not going to happen this year. I guarantee you, because Errol Spence Jr. is going to delay that fight as long as possible. And my ultimate conclusion is I think Errol Spence Jr. is going to try to move up in weight before he ever faces Terence Crawford. And he's going to offer him the fight at 154 pounds. Errol Spence Jr. is weight training himself constantly to try to make that weight limit of 147. And so I can't imagine he's going to be here by the end of next year. I think that he's going to try to move up before facing Terence Crawford, and he'll offer Crawford to fight at 154 at a higher weight. I think he's looking for that strategic advantage. He's not going to want to fight Terence Crawford. He's putting fights before it, and Bob Arum and Terence Crawford is calling his bluff. This is what I mean. His bluff is being called because we all know Errol Spence Jr. doesn't want to fight. The biggest and best fight to be made is Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. That's the fight to see who the true best is at 147. If Errol Spence Jr. really is the truth, and he really wants all the credit for beating a top-level fighter. He wants to be named elite. He wants to be unified champion. If it really is strap season, if you take the Terence Crawford fight, win or lose, you would get nothing but respect because you're fighting the absolute best in your weight class and you're risking it all. That's what people want to see. This is what makes people champions. This is what endears people to fans. People want to see the best fight the best. And Errol Spence Jr. is a terrific fighter. I like Errol Spence Jr. He's a good guy. He has an elite level body attack. I give Errol Spence Jr. his credit as being a good champion. But I think Terence Crawford is a level above Errol Spence. I think, the fact that he has better skill sets than Errol Spence Jr. He can do more things than Errol Spence Jr. And he's proven more than Errol Spence Jr. He does not want the Terence Crawford fight. And there's a reason why he keeps putting fights that no one wants to see, like Sean Porter or Manny Pacquiao, in front of that fight. No one wants to see that. No one even really wants to see a Keith Thurman versus, Errol Spence before Terence Crawford. Everyone wants to see Crawford Spence because that is the fight that everyone wants to see. That's the best fighting the best, and then we can let the rest of the guys come out. But let's see. Let's call his bluff. If Errol Spence Jr. doesn't fight Terence Crawford or start the negotiation after the Amir Khan fight, you'll see that fight will not happen just as I predicted. Once again, unbiased as always, it's the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.